We're getting ready to plant some tomato plants. My wife and I planted these over the weekend, about 3 days ago. This one here already looks like it's grown 2 inches since we planted it. This is a big beef hybrid tomato. This is a grape tomato. Now notice, let's talk about these grape tomatoes just for a minute. Notice that this one does not say hybrid on it. That's because the grape tomatoes are not a hybrid tomato. From what I understand, these were brought over from Asia, like Vietnam. They produce a tomato about the size of a grape. It's excellent for just putting on side dishes, eating them plain. And if you want some seeds to put inside your survival seed stockpile, then grape tomatoes is where it's at. And these things will grow to be like 6 feet tall. They just produce handfuls, just probably more tomatoes than a family of 4 will be able to eat. There's our tubs that we got at a local Brookshire Brothers. These are like laundry tubs. I'm going to be drilling some holes in the bottom of them for water drainage. We have our Miracle Grow organic potting soil, some cages, and we have some more big beef and a patio tomato. And just in case you're all wondering, these are some oak trees that sprouted around the house, and I tried to put them in pots so I can move them somewhere else, and it looks like they're dying, but oh well. It's one of them things. Anyway, I like the patio tomatoes, but they don't get very big. The plant itself doesn't get very big. I've only grown this once before and patted out on the front porch, and it worked out really well. What we're going to be doing is we're going to take this organic potting soil, we're going to put 2 of them down inside the bin. Then we're going to mix in some dried horse manure. And I've had this horse manure in the shed for like 2 years. We'll mix that in, mix in some triple 13, and then we're going to plant the tomatoes in the pots. We've got our first pot with 2 bags of the potting soil in it. 1 bag for that pot, and 2 bags for this one here. And I'm getting ready to put probably half of a bag on top of this. Now what we've got here is a bucket of that size right there, or about 1.5 buckets of dried horse manure mixed in with all that. Here's our 2 tubs. This is 2.5 bags of the Miracle Grow Organic Choice potting soil, and each bag is 1 cubic foot. I've got maybe about 1/2 pound of dried horse manure in there, and I've got about 2 or 3 handfuls of triple 13 all mixed in with that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the tomatoes, and these are inside of those like biodegradable pots. So all I'm going to do is poke a couple of holes in these on the sides and a couple of holes in the bottom, and then plant the whole pot. And here we go. This is the big beef tomato, and to make sure that the roots get plenty deep, I've planted the tomato plant itself down to just about the first limbs to the ground. And the same thing with this patio tomato. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to take the cages and put them around them, because these things will start whenever they get plenty of rain, or if I water them plenty, water them enough, and they get plenty of sunlight, they will start growing pretty quick. This one here looks like it's already grown 2 inches since we planted it just 3 days ago. I don't know whether it's accurate or not, but it looks like it's growing pretty good. Now we've got our tomatoes planted in containers where they're movable around the backyard if we need to. That way if they're getting a little bit too much sun, we can move them underneath the shade tree, or move them at different angles to the sun. Even though these grape tomatoes are a non-hybrid plant, I don't think I'm going to be able to save the seeds out of them, because they're so close to these other tomatoes, to the garden and to the big beef. So what I'm probably going to do, I'm probably going to get a couple of those grape tomatoes and bring them over to my stepson's house, and then save those for the seeds where they're not going to be around any more tomato plants. That way there's no chance of cross-pollination, because I would really like to have some of these grape tomato seeds in my seed stockpile, but I never get around to saving them, because we plant a couple of different types of tomatoes together. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to get 2 or 3 of those plants and then bring them over to my stepson's house and plant them over there. And just to make sure everything's got plenty of water today, it's time to add a little bit to it.